Hello there, you're tuned into 7Edition. I'm Anand Watanasin and these are your headlines. Petrol subsidy scheme postponed indefinitely to fine-tune mechanism. 13 inmates detained after a short-lived drug rehab jailbreak. The government is postponing the petrol subsidy program, the PSP, that was meant to start in January to give time to the Finance Ministry to fine-tune its implementation mechanism. The decision was made in a cabinet meeting on December 18th. In a statement, the Domestic Trade and Consumers Affairs Minister, Dr. Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, said the decision was also made to allow explanation sessions for better understanding and preparation of the program's implementation.
Melainkan komponen M40, penerima M40 yang sedang dikenal pasti datanya oleh Kementerian Kewangan. Jadi saya yakin baik Kementerian Kewangan ataupun KPDNCP soal tahap persiapan kami sudah pun bersedia. Namun Kabinet berpendapat harus ditingkatkan sahaja lagi.
No time frame was set for the explanations to be carried out either. Dr. Sri Saifuddin explained that the deferment will also give room to register more recipients from the B40 group and identify those from the M40 group who would qualify. The PSP was announced in Budget 2020 and is meant to plug leaks in the fuel subsidy system. In the new system, only qualified recipients will receive the subsidies. A Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC officer has lodged a counter-report with the police after 3 policemen claimed that they were beaten by the officer during questioning. MACC Chief Commissioner Latifah Koya said they do not tolerate any attacks during detention and will cooperate in the investigation. She added that the police officers were being questioned during a MACC investigation into extortion.
Apa yang berlaku ni adalah timbul setelah pihak SPRM Selangor sedang mempergiatkan operasi untuk membuat tangkapan terhadap beberapa pegawai polis yang terlibat dalam kes-kes peras ugut, melibatkan kes-kes penyalahgunaan dadah sebenarnya.
Latifah added that the anti-graft body already has tight standard operating procedures in place to arrest and detain suspects. 3 officers aged between 24 and 26 from the Sungai Buloh Narcotics Criminal Investigation Division lodged a police report saying they had been punched, slapped and kicked when giving their statements at the MACC office in Selangor on December 24th and 26th. They then lodged a report against the MACC officer who interrogated them last Friday. The smoking ban at all prohibited areas, including eateries, will be fully enforced effective this Wednesday. Individuals found smoking at these premises will be subjected to a compound of 250 ringgit. For first-time offenders, the compound could be reduced to 150 ringgit if payment is made at any district health office within a month from the date the compound was issued. But for those committing subsequent offences, they could be slapped with a higher compound of 350 ringgit. The same goes to business owners if they don't ensure their premises are smoke-free by, for instance, providing ashtrays and shisha services. The Health Ministry are urging owners to also ensure that there are adequate no-smoking signs clearly displayed at their premises. A holistic plan on enforcement against illegal immigrants will be launched next year to comprehensively combat the influx of illegal immigrants to the country. Home Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the plan is aimed at ensuring that Malaysia achieves 0 illegal immigrants in a set period through the strengthening of governance and existing enforcement work systems. Tan Sri Muhyiddin told Bernama that the holistic plan entails strategic cooperation between various ministries and related agencies based on firmer law enforcement and more effective action. The plan, drawn up by his ministry in June this year, outlines the program or measures for the next 5 years, starting in 2020. It involves all state governments, local authorities, village community management councils, and village development and security committees. Its objectives include creating an ecosystem that is uncomfortable for illegal immigrants to continue with their daily life. The plan outlines 5 strategies for eradicating the illegal immigrant problem. With the launching of the plan, Tan Sri Muhyiddin foresees that the Home Ministry would no longer have to conduct any amnesty program, as it gives the wrong signal to foreigners that anyone could enter and stay in Malaysia without documents. The implementation of the Back for Good B4G program for illegal immigrants on August 1st this year ends at midnight tomorrow, where they can voluntarily return to their country by paying a 700 ringgit compound. As of December 15th, the Immigration Department has recorded over 130,000 illegal immigrants applying to join the B4G program, with Indonesians accounting for the highest number at over 53,000. Meanwhile, 13 inmates had a short-lived escape from the Gambang Narcotics Addiction Centre, Puspen, in Pahang, after they were detained by police less than 14 hours after making their daring breakout. The authorities got a major lead in their search when one of the inmates, Muhammad Shahrul Nizam Pauzi, had returned home, and his family then drove him back to Puspen. Based on information from the detainee, authorities descended on a wooden plank factory in Jaya Gandeng and rounded up the other 12 detainees aged 19 to 25 hiding nearby. Police investigations revealed that inmates had sketched out their escape plan on polystyrene boards before making their run at 2 a.m. The mastermind was Ahmad Azmani Rosdi, who was brought to Puspen on September 18th. Puspen officers only realized the inmates were missing during a roll call at their hostel at 5:30 this morning. All the detainees have now been returned to the Gambang Puspen. A man was killed in an accident after snatching a victim's gold chain in Bandar Puteri, Puchong, Selangor. Sedang District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Ismadi Borhan said the snatch thief was hit by the victim's car shortly after the attack. The incident occurred at about 6:24 p.m. yesterday when the victim was about to get into the car. The suspect was seriously injured and taken to the Sedang Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 7:52 p.m. The victim's gold chain has been recovered. The suspect had previous criminal records involving drugs and snatch theft. A Nepali worker met a gruesome end after falling into a meat grinder at a factory in Londang, Pangkalan Balak, Melaka early this morning. The 22-year-old man was believed to have fallen in while carrying out maintenance work on the machine. The Fire and Rescue Department say the machine had started suddenly while the victim was working on it. The victim had suffered serious wounds to his waist and was confirmed dead by medical officers. It took 30 minutes for firefighters to extract his body, and his body was handed over to the police for further action. In the courthouse, an assistant lorry driver pleaded not guilty to sexually abusing a 9-year-old girl at a surau in Sungai Petani on December 13th. 31-year-old Muhammad Nizam Yaakob, a father of 5, made the plea earlier today. He was charged under the Child Sexual Offences Act, where he faces up to 20 years in prison and is liable to whipping. A CCTV video, which went viral on social media, showed a man sexually abusing the minor. The victim and her cousin were playing at a nearby playground before the incident. The court set bail at 10,000 ringgit, while January 29th was fixed for case remention. Let's take a breather, and when we come back, 30,000 people ordered to evacuate in Australia. Stay with us for the details. More than 30,000 people were urged to evacuate parts of Australia's southeast on Monday as a new heat wave left firefighters across the country bracing for another round of potentially catastrophic bushfires. Hundreds of blazes are burning across Australia as a bushfire season that started earlier than usual continues to wreak havoc. Despite strong pleas from local officials, there has been no mass exodus as many holidaymakers have reportedly decided to ignore the warning and stay put. People in some areas are also being urged to take shelter indoors because it is now too late to evacuate. With temperatures set to top 40 degrees Celsius in Melbourne, authorities forecast the fire danger to be extreme in 7 of the state's 9 districts. Fire warnings also stretch from Western Australia through South Australia to Tasmania in what has already been one of the toughest bushfire seasons on record. Bushfires have already destroyed more than 4 million hectares across the country in recent weeks and has left at least 8 people dead. Around 480 million animals are also feared to have died in the bushfires. That includes 8,000 koalas, nearly a third of the population in New South Wales' main habitat. Petronas subsidiary Petronas Petróleo Brasil Limitada (PPBL) has completed the transaction for the acquisition of 50% equity in 2 Brazilian oil fields. The Tartaruga Verde producing field and Module 3 of the Espadarte field are located in deep waters of the Campos Basin offshore Brazil. PPBL signed a sales and purchase agreement with Brazil's Petroleum National Corporation Petrobras on April 25th this year. Petrobras, who is the operator, holds the remaining 50% equity. Now, aside from expanding portfolio in South America, Petronas also signed 6 new production sharing contracts, of which 4 are in Malaysia and 2 in Gabon, in addition to the acquisitions of 2 offshore blocks in Egypt. Pokong Holdings Berhad expects gold prices to be on an uptrend next year, between 10 to 20%. Its director of subsidiary, Ermin Xiao, said the price is expected to be between 6,500 and 6,900 ringgit per ounce, compared with 6,100 ringgit per ounce on average this year.
In terms of what happened now is actually we are always listening a lot of unexpected things coming up, and then that actually spurred a lot of investors actually looking more closely to gold, which is it's a safe haven. So there are a lot of analysts also actually they are expecting next year the gold price will perform better than this year.
Meanwhile, Pokong's revenue was flat at 1 billion ringgit, while net profit rose to over 25 million ringgit from 23 million in the previous year. Going forward, he said the group anticipated maintaining its revenue for the 2020 financial year, supported by higher demand for gold. Unfortunately, it's bad news for Netflix subscribers, as starting January 9th, Malaysian subscribers will be paying more to comply with the new digital tax implementation of 6%. The price is also to allow Netflix to improve its content and user experience. The new price of its basic plan will increase by 2 ringgit to 35 ringgit per month. For the standard plan, it's an increase by 3 ringgit, it's an increase of 3 ringgit to 45 ringgit, and premium users will be paying 4 ringgit more at 55 ringgit. However, the subscription for its mobile-only plan will remain at 17 ringgit a month. This is the first time Netflix has increased its price since its launch in January 2016, and existing Netflix subscribers would be notified from January 9th onwards on a rolling basis. Netflix joins other international digital service providers, companies like Google Malaysia, Sony and Facebook, in rolling out the digital tax. Bursa Malaysia bucked most of its regional peers to close higher on the last 2 trading days of 2019, propelled by further year-end window dressing amidst price hikes in both crude palm oil and crude oil. The FBM KLCI climbed 5.06 points to finish at 1,615.67. And now, on to stocks to watch. Apollo Foods' second quarter financial year 2020 results were below expectations, mainly due to weaker sales and higher raw material costs. Despite the lackluster sales growth and absence of earnings growth drivers, it is believed that the generous dividend payout, backed by a sturdy balance sheet, should continue to support the share price. Next, Pestec has just secured yet another contract from the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, worth 112 million ringgit for EPCC upgrading work for South Luzon substations in the Philippines. This is its 3rd offshore contract, win, which actually showcases its prowess in bidding internationally. Coming up next, we're going to be taking a look at someone making a grand entrance in an ambulance. Stay tuned for the details.
"2019 stands out in the annals of history as a challenging year, but also one filled with hope.
How dare you!
Revisiting the highs and lows throughout the year, from destructive weather and disaster woes to the people that inspire us to make a difference, and what's to come in 2020. Join us on December 31st at 11:30 p.m. as we look back at the defining moments of 2019, only on NTV7.
And now let's hop on to Clickbait, where we're taking a look at what's trending and making the rounds in the cyber world today. Now, nutty nuptials happen on a daily basis, especially among couples who want to do something a little bit different to make their wedding a memorable one. And one of these unique couples took to Facebook to share how different their special day was by arriving at their reception in an ambulance, with the full works, sirens blaring and all. Let's have a look. Well, we're pretty sure that the entry may not be everyone's cup of tea, but hey, it's their wedding after all. Unique as it is, netizens, however, were divided on the gimmick, with some saying that ambulances shouldn't be used for personal reasons other than to transport those in need and for emergencies. Another voiced out saying the siren should not be used just like that. Defending the decision to use the ambulance as part of the gimmick, the groom stepped up and said that he used a private ambulance and not one of those used by the Ministry of Health at government hospitals. He also added that the siren was turned on at the last minute before entering the hall compound. In all fairness, the wedding was pretty cool, with the groom dressing the part in the gimmick, as it was said he is a medical officer after all. Well, at least let's wish the couple a happy married life. And now, updated as of 7 p.m., here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today.